Good morning. We are going to wait until the rest start or appear. So, okay. So I am going to wait a little bit and I am going to start the session for today.
Hello, teacher Lina. Good day for you. Hello, teacher.
Hello, good morning, Tito. How are you today?
I am very well, teacher. Thank
Okay,
you.
we are going to wait a little bit for the rest and we can start the class, I think, in 5 minutes. Okay?
Okay, teacher.
You can turn your microphone off, please.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, Tito. So tell me, how was your last weekend?
Sorry, teacher. Uh, I I was work my homework uh, for another classes. Uh, I have to deliver today.
Okay, very good. Hello, Diana. How are you today?
Good morning, teacher. Good morning, Tito.
Hello.
My day I'm fine, teacher. Yeah, studying in my house.
Hey, Diana, what did you do in your weekend? Diana,
Yes, teacher.
what did you do in your weekend, your last weekend?
I visit my grandmother and my grandfather. Um, and we cultive granadillas.
Okay, passion fruit.
Eso, passion fruit.
Okay, very good. Nice, actually. And in my case, I stayed at home. No, not too much to do. Okay, so we are going to start the topic for today. This topic is really important for us because we can see our fluency and how develop this skill that is important in the second language. Okay, so I will show you some tips. um, So the topic for today is how to increase your fluency by Lina Maria Sepulveda, and this is our course Intermediate English 1. So this topic is about how to speak. So let me show you a video about it. Okay, I want you to pay attention to this video, and after we can talk about it.
Hi, I'm Ollie. Welcome to Oxford Online English. In this lesson, you can learn how to speak more fluently in English. How long have you been studying English? Do you find that sometimes, even though you study hard, you can't speak fluently? Do you learn lots of grammar and vocabulary, but you find it difficult to make sentences when you speak? In this lesson, we're going to talk about fluency and what you can do to change this situation and improve your English fluency. Part 1. What is fluency? Sometimes, when people talk about fluency, they just mean speaking a language well. For some people, speaking English fluently just means having a good general level of English. However, fluency is more specific than that. Fluency means you can speak smoothly without stopping or hesitating. There are two sides to fluency. One side is physical. Your mouth needs to produce and connect English sounds and words in a fast, smooth way. The other side of fluency is mental. Your brain needs to find the right words and build English sentences quickly and smoothly. To improve your fluency, you need to work on both sides, physical and mental. But first, part 2. Rule number 1. Get out there. There are many things you can do to improve your English fluency. However, if you want to become more fluent, there's really one thing you have to do. Get out there and speak English. Talk to people and have conversations regularly. Nothing else you can do is as important as this. Reading English will improve your reading. Practicing listening will improve your listening. But what about speaking? Nothing will help your speaking except speaking. Speaking English is a practical skill. It's not an academic subject. It's not something you can learn from a book. It's more like doing a sport or playing a musical instrument. You need to practice regularly to make any progress. How regularly? As often as you can. There's no maximum, but I'd recommend you need to spend at least 2 to 3 hours a week speaking English if you want to improve. So how can you do this? Go to classes, talk to expats or foreigners in your city, join groups or activities with English speakers, find a conversation partner online, do a language exchange. There are many possibilities. By the way, what you do doesn't have to be language focused. You can go to English classes to practice your speaking, but anything you do which is in English and which will make you speak English is just as good. I'm going to take a guess here about what many of you are thinking right now. But I don't have people to talk to, but I'm shy, but it's too difficult. Let's talk about these things quickly. Part 3, get used to pressure. Speaking a foreign language is hard. Situations which would be easy in your language can feel difficult in another language. Situations which would feel difficult in your language can feel almost impossible when you have to do them in a foreign language. That's how it is. It's easy to imagine when you start learning another language that you'll reach a point where everything is easy and comfortable. But unless you live in a foreign country and live completely inside that culture, that won't happen. Trust me, I've studied several languages at this point in my life. I speak some of them quite well, but it never feels easy or comfortable. Why are we talking about this? I'm trying to motivate you to go out and speak more, practice more. To do that, you have to accept that it will feel difficult, uncomfortable, and intimidating a lot of the time. That's how it is. Don't let it stop you. You can still practice, you can still communicate, and you can still improve. I'll give you an example of this from my own experience. I hate making phone calls in another language. I don't know why, but I find it particularly intimidating. I guess because I can't use context or facial expressions or anything like that to help me understand or communicate. I lived in Russia and I studied Russian. I hated making phone calls in Russian. Then I lived in China and I studied Chinese. I hated making phone calls in Chinese. Now I'm studying Greek. Guess what? I hate making phone calls in Greek too. It still feels just as difficult and just as intimidating. I haven't learned any tricks to make it easier. All I've done is that I accept that this is how it feels. That's it. I still do it because I have to sometimes. I just accept that I'm going to feel nervous or uncomfortable, and I have to speak and communicate anyway. And I do. It doesn't stop you. Feeling nervous does not stop you communicating. This will be the same for you sometimes. It might be phone calls, it might be something else. The key point, you have to accept and learn to deal with that pressure. Don't think it feels scary, so I won't do it. It won't feel less scary in the future. The only way to make it easier is to go out and do it. If you do that, you'll feel more confident. It will get a little bit easier with time. Okay, so now you know the most important point about fluency, but is there anything else you can do to practice? Yes, there is. Part 4, speed reading. Find a text in English. It can be something from a textbook, from a newspaper, from a blog, or anywhere. The text should be fairly easy for you. Don't choose something with a lot of new words or something which is way above your current English level. Sit down with a timer, read the text aloud, time yourself. Now, read it again. Try to beat your previous time. Keep going like this. See how fast you can read the text. What's this for? Oh, remember that part of fluency is physical. Your mouth needs to produce English sounds and English words fast and smoothly. Speed reading like this is a good way to practice that side of fluency. This way of practicing is really useful because you can do it almost anywhere, and you can also do as much or as little as you have time for. You can do 5 minutes practice or 15 minutes or half an hour. It's all helpful. Let's see another good technique like this. Part 5. Using songs. Find a song in English. Choose something which you like. Find the lyrics online. If you don't know where to look, just put the song title and the word lyrics into Google. You'll find them. Play the song, read the lyrics, sing. Like with speed reading, this is a good technique to practice the physical side of fluency. When you sing a song, you have to go at the speed of the song. Start with slower songs, then choose faster ones. Try to choose something that's possible but challenging. So you can sing the song, but it's difficult to go fast enough. Again, this will really help with your physical fluency. It's also easy to do. You can do one song a day, and I promise you, you will feel a difference quite quickly. I used this technique a lot when I was learning Chinese, and it really helped. Speed reading and singing songs are good for physical fluency, but what about the mental side of fluency? Let's see what you can do to improve that. Part 6. Learn language in chunks. Here's a question. How do you learn vocabulary? When I see students learning vocabulary, often it looks like this. People write down the English word, the translation in their own language, and then they try to memorize it. Okay, but what does that have to do with fluency? Think about it. If you learn language like this, you're making your brain do things in a very unnatural and complicated way. First of all, you're learning each word individually, but when you speak a language, you don't need individual words, you need phrases and sentences. Secondly, if you do this, you're learning English through your own language. You're not learning to speak English, you're trying to learn to translate your language into English in your head. So, does this sound familiar? You have a sentence in your head in your own language. You move through the sentence, translating each word into English. If you don't know the translation of a word, you get stuck. You feel bad about your English and you stop speaking. You need to break this habit if you want to speak fluently. First of all, this way of thinking and speaking is always slow. It will always be slow because you're trying to do too many things at once. You're trying to think and remember things in 2 languages. It's too difficult for anybody. So, what can you do? We said before that you need phrases and sentences when you speak. So, learn language in phrases and sentences. For example, imagine that someone asks you, "What are you doing this weekend?" Look at 3 answers. I'm going to see some old friends. I'm thinking of going for a bike ride. I might do some odd jobs around the house. Now, make your own sentences. I'm going to, I'm thinking of, I might, Try to make 2 or 3 sentences for each one so that you use different endings. Now think, if someone asks you this question, "What are you doing this weekend?" If you remember language in big pieces, you only have to remember 2 things. I'm going to see some old friends. I'm going to have dinner with my family. I'm going to watch some old movies. That makes it easy to respond to questions like this fluently. On the other hand, if you make a sentence in your head in your language, in your head, and then you translate each word into English, it's much more complicated. You don't just have to remember 2 things, you have to remember many things. So try to learn vocabulary in this way. Take a sentence like, I went for a walk yesterday. Keep the basic sentence form, but change part of it. Yesterday. Now, make 2 to 3 different sentences. I took an exam yesterday. I was lazy all day yesterday. I cooked a spicy curry yesterday. Now, practice and remember the sentences and phrases. This is a much more natural way to learn vocabulary. If you learn vocabulary like this, it will be much easier to respond fluently because you won't need to think in your own language and translate. You'll remember the whole phrases and sentences that you need. Okay, that's the end of our lesson. I hope you learned something about spoken fluency and how you can improve your fluency in English. You can find more free English lessons on our website, oxfordonlineenglish.com.
Okay, this is the video for today. I think this video is really interesting because we can improve our fluency, and this is a topic that I think is important for us as students of the second language. So let me check here. So I have here another thing, another page of some tips that help you to be fluency in English. But first of all, Diana, what do you think about the video? Do you like the video?
Yes, teacher, your tips are very good, and I understand. We need practice, for example, speed reading, find one text, and also search songs with your lyrics, and practice the pronunciation and memorize the form of the words.
Yes, it's really important. Actually, I am obsessed with that tip because actually for me it works. I choose one song and I start to read the song, and after with the time I hear the song and I can practice my English without reading. So this is a nice tip that we can practice also at home or in our free time. Okay, Tito, what do you think about the video? Do you like the video?
Yes, teacher, I like the video. She is explained the 6 topics very important to learn the second language, like improve the skills, abilities, and to find conversation with other people. He talk about get used to pressure. It's very important. I afraid with speak with you. I don't think very fast. It is difficult conversation. The speak reading it is other topic. Very important when he talk about repeat faster, more faster in the time. The using sounds. I don't do. Uh,
Actually, it's a nice tip. Actually, when I am alone, because I am very shy, actually, I like to read some lyrics of music, different kind of music in English, and after I start to practice singing, actually. But if you don't like, for example, he mentioned something about how to do it with a text. So you can find a text, a simple text in internet, for example, and you can practice reading loud. This is really important. If you start to practice in that way, you can be better day by day. Okay.
okay.
So I know that we are afraid to make some mistakes, or maybe we cannot find the words. Maybe we can feel worried about that. But actually, this is really important. If we start to talk and practice, our brain start to move and try to be better. So this is really important. Okay. So don't worry if you are scared, if you are shy like me, or if you don't feel the words, mm, don't find the words to talk about, because actually this is a language, of course. We cannot be fluently fast, so we need to practice, and this is really important. Hello, Laura. How are you today? Hi, Laura.
Hello, teacher.
How are you today?
I'm fine, and you?
Very good, thanks. So we are talking about fluency, how we can improve our fluency. Okay. So
Okay.
you can turn your microphone off, please.
Okay.
Okay. So I know it's really scared to talk in second language, because sometimes we can forget the words, but it's important to practice. If you can start to read some text, and after repeat faster, this increase your pronunciation and also your brain. So this is important. Also, it's really important, and this tip is necessary. We need to increase our vocabulary. If you have in your brain a lot of different words, you can communicate and explain your ideas. So this is really important, because sometimes you can start to be blank, but after you say, oh yes, I have this word, so you can start to practice like that. Okay. So the vocabulary is actually really important. So also the four skills are important. So you need to read, you need to speak, you need to talk with somebody, like in the video mentioned. Okay. So let me check again. I have here. Check. Yes, I have here another tips to help you become fluent in English fast. Speak better in English. So no one wants to learn English slowly. Every learner wants to learn English as quickly as possible. That is why I put together these 7 tips that will help you become more fluent and confident English speaker by using the most effective methods and learning strategies. Okay. I am also going to explain how can do more in English too. Don't just read the tips, start implementing them today. Be sure to bookmark this page so that you can come back to this page when you need. Okay, this is a matter, but this is the video.
Hello, this is Jack from Fluency.com and welcome to this video where I'm going to share 7 tips to help you learn English fast. We are going to talk about the different learning strategies that you can implement so you can make faster progress with your English. And we're going to mainly focus on speaking because that's what most people want to improve. So let's get started. Actually, before we do, check out the description because I'm going to leave a summary of these tips, a link to the article where you can read these tips, and also a link to all the resources that I mentioned. So let's get started with tip number 1. Tip 1 is to set a goal for yourself. So to be very specific with what you want to achieve, and also importantly, when you want to achieve this goal. So, for example, let's say that you have a B1 level of English, a pre-intermediate level of English. And again, we're going to focus on speaking here. Now, this is a level that a lot of learners have. And a goal for you, if you have this level, is to reach a C1 level, an advanced level of English, within 9 to 12 months. So to be very specific with what we want to achieve. And if you want to learn more about these different levels, then check out the video I made on that. But again, if you have a pre-intermediate level, a B1 level of English, a great goal to set yourself is to reach that advanced level, the C1 level, within 9 to 12 months. This goal is ambitious, but it's also attainable. So it's ambitious, but it is realistic. It's something that you can do if you apply yourself, if you do the right things. And having a goal that is ambitious with a deadline will help you create a strategy in order to reach this goal. So basically what we're doing here is we're setting ourselves a target to improve at a faster rate than we are doing now. And having this deadline will actually make us not only come up with a strategy, but also take action on that strategy to actually do the things we need to do. So the first step is to create a goal for yourself. I've given you an example, but depending on your lifestyle, your ambition, and also just what you want to do, you might want to be more ambitious or less ambitious. And know that we can change this goal depending on our progress, but it's good to set a goal and to be very specific with what you want to achieve and when you want to achieve this. So write down your goal and say exactly what level you want to reach and when you want to reach this goal by. And then move on to tip number 2. Tip number 2 is to commit to doing something in English every day. Once you have your goal, it's now time to come up with the strategy. And I highly recommend committing to the daily practice of learning English. Now, know that there are 2 different types of learning that we can focus on. 2, generally speaking, things that we can do in order to improve. One is more passive. This is where you're reading something, you're watching something in English, or you're listening to something in English. This is where you surround yourself in English. And we're going to talk about that in tip 3. This is easier to implement because you can listen to something in English while doing other things. The second type is more deliberate, it's more active. And this is, for example, working on the sounds of English, getting speaking practice, doing some writing. We'll talk about that later. But this is something that you'll have to really dedicate time to doing. Because while you can listen to things in English while doing other things, if you're focusing on some type of language that you need to learn, then you need to actually create that environment where you can focus on this. But the key to this tip is just the commitment to daily practice, the commitment to actually doing something daily. Because in order to improve quickly, in order to make that fast progress, you're going to have to do something every day and get into the habit of doing something every day. Tip number 3 is to surround yourself in English. And we've already talked about that in tip 2, but I want to expand on this and also talk about a mistake that a lot of learners make when they do this. Okay, so you've probably heard other teachers say, listen to things in English, read things in English, watch things in English, change your life so that it's more surrounded by the English language, which is great advice because it works and it's something that you need to do in order to improve more quickly. But choose resources that are specific to you and your level. To help me explain this, a lot of learners get in touch with me, they send me emails saying, I can understand your videos, but I don't understand movies. Or when I watch a movie, I don't know what is happening. And this isn't a big surprise because, again, if you have that pre-intermediate level, it's going to be difficult for you to understand things that aren't written for English learners, that aren't made for English learners. So native materials like movies and songs and TV shows, they're going to be more difficult to understand than the things that are made for you and your level. So find resources that are suitable for your level. So if you have a B1 level of English again, find graded readers that are made for you. Get the audiobook too. Find TV shows, podcasts, songs, or books that you are interested in so that you're learning the type of English that you're going to use. And also ask this question, am I going to learn the type of English that I need to learn by reading this book or listening to this podcast? As your level increases, you'll be able to expose yourself to native materials and to enjoy movies and TV shows and podcasts that are made for English speakers. But for now, surround yourself in English that you are going to enjoy and the type of English that's suitable for your level. Because if it's too difficult for you, you're not going to enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, you're not going to continue listening or reading. Tip number 4 is all about using the most effective methods so that you make the most out of the time you spend studying. Because so far we have set a goal, we have talked about daily practice, we've talked about listening to things that are suitable to you and your level. But now we're going to focus on the studying side. Now, I like to talk about deliberate practice when it comes to this. And deliberate practice is focusing on the skills you want to improve and using the best methods in order to improve those skills. And it also includes getting feedback on your output so that you can make changes and so that you can improve your English. So this is more active. Tip 3, surrounding yourself in English is very passive. You're listening, you're reading. But what we're talking about here is being more active with what you do. And this is where you need more concentration. You need to focus on what you're doing in order to get the most out of the different things that you do. Now, here are some examples of deliberate practice. And these are the types of things that I recommend you do. The first one is writing. And I made a whole video on how to improve your writing skills. But writing is such a great way for you to improve because it gives you the time to think about what you want to say and how you want to say it. When you're speaking, it's difficult to use the correct pronunciation and to use the right words, and you're constantly interacting with someone. It's a difficult skill to do, but with writing you can take your time and ensure that you are using the right words in the right way. Another example is taking lessons with a teacher. So this is where you can practice your speaking and get feedback on your speaking. Another one is to use the Fluency method, which we are going to talk about next. Tip 5 is to use the Fluency method, also known as the LRRC method. And this is how to use it. First, you listen to a sentence in English. Then you repeat the sentence and record yourself saying it. You then listen to your version and the original, and then you make changes to the way that you say the sentence, and you get long-term repetition. Again, focus on the type of English that you want to learn. So get sentences that are specific to you and your level. Then either use your phone or your computer to record yourself saying these sentences, and then just compare them. So listen to the original and then listen to your version. And then notice what you need to do to sound more like the original version. So think about what you need to do with the sounds of English. Notice what you have to do when it comes to linking words or the way you stress different parts of the sentence. And keep doing this until your version is as close as possible to the original. And then once you have done this, use an app like Anki to get long-term repetition so that you internalize these phrases. And that's a big part of this method. Internalizing the vocabulary and the grammar so that you can just produce it without really thinking about the rules. So that you produce this automatically and naturally. And if you do this with lots of sentences, then you'll be able to be very flexible with the way you speak. You'll be able to just do this without thinking about grammar rules or sentence structure or anything like that, and without translating. To learn more about this method, again, check the description. There'll be a link there. And I'll also include one of the cards here on YouTube so you can watch that video. Tip number 6 is to get more speaking practice. Now, what we have talked about so far with deliberate practice is kind of like football training. So where you work on your heading, you practice dribbling and passing. But then speaking practice and having conversations is like playing the game. And you need both in order to make fast progress. And there are 3 main ways that you can get speaking practice. The first way is to get a teacher. Now, hiring a teacher is great if you can afford it, because a teacher will give you feedback on your mistakes and help you when it comes to deliberate practice. The second way is to join a language exchange. And a language exchange is where you meet with somebody who knows the language you want to learn, so an English speaker, and they also want to learn the language that you know. So if you are from Russia, find an English speaker who wants to learn Russian, and then you spend half the time speaking in English and half the time speaking in Russian. I'll leave a link in the description to my favorite language exchange app. And then finally, make friends and join clubs. This is a long-term plan, because if you just send a message to somebody on Facebook saying, hey, do you want to chat with me in English? Then 99% of the time they'll say, who are you? I don't know you. No. So take your time to make friends in the city where you live, online, or anywhere else that you go. And join clubs too. So if you're in an English-speaking country, join clubs so that you meet people and you can easily make friends. Tip number 7 is all about the Pareto principle, or the 80-20 rule. And I think this is such an important thing to think about when it comes to learning English. And it's actually going to help you with all the tips that we've talked about before. And here is a little stat from the BBC, which I'm going to share with you. And they said, if you learn only 800 of the most frequently used lemmas in English, now lemma is like a word family, you'll be able to understand 75% of the language as it is spoken in normal life. So this is saying that it's important to learn the most commonly used words and phrases. And this makes sense, right? Because if you learn the most commonly used words and phrases, then you'll be able to have better conversations, because those are the words and phrases that people use more often. But also take this a step further by focusing on the language that you specifically are going to need. So for example, let's say that part of your job is to describe charts in English. different graphs and data, then you need to learn the words and phrases related to this. Also, if you're taking the IELTS exam, then focus on what you need to know for the IELTS exam. So be smart with this. Don't waste your time learning things that you won't need to know, especially when it comes to the fluency method that I introduced before, where you are taking sentences and you are internalizing them through the repetition and the speaking. So use sentences that you're going to need to know. So with all that in mind, let me know in the comment section which tip is the most powerful, which tip you're going to start implementing today. And then share your tips. What tip?
Okay, this is another video that I think is really interesting. So he's talking about 7 tips for improve our fluency in English. So the Laura, which tip do you like?
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. The tip is to organize the ideas to say, and the record and listening and change the mistake, the pronunciation.
Yes, this is a nice tip. He mentioned something about record yourself, and after again record and check how is or which one is your mistake, and you can practice also. Very good, Laura. What about you, Diana?
I like the tip of chat with any friend online because yes, friend online because I practice of English in the writing and 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 speaking.
Yes, yes, you can find another person or a native person, and you can start to practice like that. Also, it's a lot of different pages in internet that you can find, and you can make friends from around the world and also practice the second language. Very good, Diana. What do you think, Tito? Which one do you like?
This video is talk about important topics with practice ability skills with show TV shows, videos, podcasts, read books, practice reading, speaking practice, takes this class with the teacher, speaking a lot of time, think about English today is very important. The tool LRCM, listen, repeat, record, compare, make change and repetition is very important for develop ability skills.
Yes, this is true. Actually, the first tip that he mentioned was the set our goal, what we can achieve. So this is really important if we want to reach a goal. For example, in our case, we need to figure out our different goals in our semester, for example. So the second tip that he talks was about what we can do daily. For example, if we can start to practice 30 minutes daily in English, so we can start to practice listen some music in English, or watching some videos or movies like he talks. Is difficult for sometimes when we can see some movies, because of course we cannot understand everything, but this is really important because we can practice also our skills. Also, he mentions something about make phrases. Actually, this is really interesting and important for us because we can practice writing some phrases that what we can uh, mention or say to someone, and after we can start to make some changes and try to practice this, and after we can start to speak with another person. This is really important because we don't have to think too much about these phrases, just to remember what we want to do or what we want to say. Okay, so this is really nice, and I hope you like this video. Now let me share with you again my screen. Okay. So I have here some fluency checklist. Accuracy. I read the words correctly. Right. I read not too fast and not too slow. Expression. I read with feeling and I didn't sound like a robot. And punctuation. I follow most or all of the punctuation marks as I read the text. This is really important because if we don't use punctuation, sometimes we cannot say some phrases properly. So the punctuation is really important, also in Spanish. So also I have some tips for you. So you need to be excited about the the things that you want to say. So, for example, if you are talking about your weekend, what do you want to do in your weekend? So you have to be excited about that. So you can practice also like that, with a lot of vocabulary, of course. I think the most important is reading. If you start to read loud, you can practice your pronunciation, you can start to talk, you can start also, if you want to record, you can start to practice and check the original, and after you can start to check your mistakes and be better. Okay. Okay. This one is missing. Check. This one. I have one missing, but I don't know if it's this one. Check. Someone. Okay, this is a video about how to improve spoken English without a partner, because sometimes we don't have this partner with our friend to speak in English. So check it. So here we have some tips. Think in English. Sometimes the difficult thing about English speaking isn't the language itself, but how you think about it. So you need to start to practice and think in English. Everything. If you are in your room, you can start to practice with some phrases, mention, think in English, everything. Uh, Talk to yourself. For example, when you are alone and you can start to check a mirror and you can start practicing in English. Okay, here we have use a mirror. If you have daily this routine, you can practice also, and you can be more confident about speaking in English. So this is very nice. For example, you can practice something that you want to say or mention to someone. So you can practice using a mirror. Focus on English fluency, not grammar. This is really important. I mentioned before, it doesn't matter if you make mistakes. It doesn't matter. You need to focus in your fluency. You need to focus talking. You need to remember some words that you want to mention. It doesn't matter if you don't use grammar, because you are practicing in this moment just fluency, just talking. Okay? Try English tongue twisters. This is really difficult for us as Spanish, because in English they use a lot of different pronunciation and ways to pronounce different words. So we need to start to practice with our tongue. You can find a lot of different pages in internet that mention how to improve these twisters with your tongue. This is difficult for us, but we need to practice, because of course we have to. But you can practice also these twisters. And also listen and repeat, like we mentioned before. This is really important if we want to practice and be better, okay? So now, okay, I want you to read. Laura, you can start with this first part.
Read?
Yes, please. This first,
Okay.
okay?
Okay. Adventure travel.
Adventure.
Adventure travel. Time for an adventure. Are you a bit bored? Would you like to find your thing? Have a look at our exciting range of holidays and decide what type of adventure you like.
Okay, very good. Next one, Dayana, I want you to read from this part until this point, okay?
Okay, teacher. Activity holidays. Our activity holidays are for everyone, people who love danger or who just like sports. We have a huge variety of water, snow, or desert holidays. We'll take you scuba diving in the Red Sea or kayaking and whitewater rafting in Canada. If you prefer snow, you can try skiing or snowboarding in the Alps or even igloo building for those who like warmer weather. We also have sandboarding, the desert version of skateboarding or camel safaris.
Very good. Okay. We say huge. Okay.
Huge?
Huge. This
Huge.
huge. Okay, the next one, Tito. Polar expedition until this exclamation, please.
Polar expedition. Take a cruise to Antarctica on the northern Arctic, explore a land of wide natural beauty and wonderful wild, wildlife. Our experts will explain everything about the two poles as you watch the penguins in Antarctica or whales and polar bears in the Arctic. There is no greater adventure than traveling to the ends of the earth. A once in a lifetime experience.
Experience. Okay, very good. The next one, Laura, cultural journeys.
Who?
Laura,
¿Cuál? Which?
this one, cultural journeys until here, okay?
Cultural journeys. Our cultural journeys will help you discover
Yes.
and sight civilization, India, Thailand, Egypt, and many more. Visit temple, palace, and sign. Wins. Just remember to bring your camera. Get to know local ways of life by exploring, trying exotic food and meeting local people.
Okay, very good. The next one, Dayana, trekking tours.
We have trekking holidays to famous places such as Machu Picchu or the Everest Base Camp Trek, as well as some nearer to home in the highlands of Scotland. You don't need to be very sporty to very fit. You have a great time enjoying nature with a group of friends. Some of the holidays include camping, but will transport the tents for you.
Okay, very good. So the last one, Tito, wildfire holidays.
Wildfi- Wildlife holidays. We organize small group tours to get closer to nature in Africa, Asia, or South America. Go on safari in Africa and watch lions and mm,
Giraffes.
giraffes. Meet the famous turtles of the Galapagos Islands. Look for tigers in India, or take an elephant safari in Sri Lanka. We use local guides and stay in a ranch and accommodation from tents on houses.
Okay, very good. Laura, do you understand what we read in this moment?
About um, ideas for travel to know the different place and around the different place.
Yes, very good. And this is ideas about a different kind of place that we can visit in holidays. So, Diana, which one do you like?
I like trekking tours
Why?
because um, uh, because we know place of Machu Picchu
Yes.
and 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 make new friends.
Okay, very good. What about you, Tito? Which one do you like?
One, I like all adventure. The travel is beautiful when you have take different ways. Uh, the when you can visit the landscapes and cultures. Um, you, I like the I like the nature. It is important wildlife, the safaris and the tours. And I see animals with tigers, elephants, um, turtles. It's very important, and I share with my family,
Okay,
the
very good.
children. It's very important.
Yes, actually, this is nice when you can have the opportunity to travel, especially when you can practice also your English skills. If you have the opportunity to travel to different places like this one, for example, I don't know, different kind of trips that you can make, and you can also practice your English, and you can have fun in the same time, and also you can share time with your family. This is really important. Okay, very good. And here you can see that you practice reading, and you can see a lot of different kind of words here that are really I don't know, different for us. For example, Laura, did you hear some words different or new? Laura?
Sorry, I don't hear you. The voice is intermittent.
Okay.
What is the question?
Did you hear new or different words here when we read?
Se entrecorta.
For example, scuba. Someone knows what it means scuba?
Mm,
Tito, do you know what
eh,
it means scuba? Or Dayana, do you know what it means scuba diving?
No, teacher, I don't know.
You don't know?
No.
Okay. Laura, do you know what it means scuba diving?
no, I don't know.
Tito, what about you?
Oh, teacher, I look for in a dictionary. It's submarines.
Yes, like buceo.
Okay, so.
Yes. Also, what else we can see here? Igloo building. Someone knows what it means igloo building?
The construction in the ice.
Exactly, like igloo. Yes,
Yes,
it's true.
yes.
Okay, very good. And this is really important. If we can check different kind of new words, we can try to check in our dictionary or in internet and check what it means, because this is important. If we don't check, also we can miss the the whole mm, the whole message of the reading, for example. Okay, so we can see a lot of different here words, different and new, so we can check in our dictionary. Okay, okay, so now I have something for you. I want you to share in the chat a song that you like in English, okay? Mention the name of a song in English in the chat. Let me check this. Okay. Sorry. Okay, you can mention a song here and I will find it in internet. So I will start with my song that I choose for today. I like this song because I don't know. I like the song, but in my case, it's not working actually. I like just the voice of Adele. So I want you to hear a little bit of this song. And after we can share some English songs in the chat, and I will play it here in internet, okay? I heard that you settled down, that you found a girl and you're married now. I heard that your dreams came true. Yes, she gave you things I didn't give to you. Old friend, why are you so shy? They like you to hide from the light. I hate to turn up out of the blue uninvited, but I couldn't stay away. I couldn't fight it. I had hoped you'd see my face and that you'd be reminded that for me it isn't over. Never mind, I'll find someone like you. I wish nothing but the best for you. Don't forget me, I beg. I'll remember you said. Sometimes it lasts in love, but sometimes it hurts instead. Sometimes it lasts in love, but sometimes it hurts instead. Yeah. Okay, so here we can practice also reading, checking if we have new words, and also checking the pronunciation. In this case, Adele is from the UK, but also we can see that she is explaining something that happens to her. But in my case, it's not working. But in this case, I think this song is really beautiful. So, okay, I want you to write in the chat one song that you like in English, please. All of you. A name, or if you want a singer, it doesn't matter. We can try something. Okay, what happened? No one has songs to share.
I searched one.
I don't understand the question.
Diana, you can also share your screen if you want.
Yes, teacher, one moment.
Okay, don't worry. Laura, I want you to check in internet, or if you want to write here in the chat a name of a song in English. And we can also check the lyrics, okay? But if you don't want, or if you don't know, it's okay. Don't worry about that.
Yeah. Okay, teacher, I share my screen now.
I'm Christine Marie Sheldon, and many of you have asked me, how can
Okay.
You need to turn your video, I guess. I don't know.
Pero es que no sé cómo compartir esto. Ah,
Or
ya. ¿Ya? ¿Sale? A ver.
yes, your video is there, but we cannot check your screen.
¿Ya?
No.
Es que le doy compartir pantalla, pero no me deja.
If you want, you can write in the chat the name of the song, Diana. Copy and paste.
Pero, one moment, teacher.
Tito, do you have any song that you want to share?
Yes, teacher. You can see my screen.
No. I see your face, but not the screen. Okay, here I have one from Diana. Let me check. Where's Diana's song?
Sorry, teacher. Extraña. Espere. Creo que no busqué la que... esa sí tiene las letras. Perdón. Ya. No, ese link no, espere. Es este.
Which one?
Es el segundo.
Let me check. So we can try your song. So it's the second one, yes?
Yes. No deja cargar.
Okay, after we figure out how to share the screen, so we can try with
Jacob Lee.
Let's figure out this one.
This is an app for project management tool called Monday.com. This is what it looks like, and this is what it feels like. My heart is weak. Tear it down piece by piece. Leave me to think deep in
my structure. Think I still love her, but I need some sleep. You've taken my breath away. Now I want to breathe. 'Cause I cannot see what you can see so easily. After my tears were almost defeated, but you took the side and you pulled out your freedom. I kept your secrets and I thought that you would do the same. Caught in my memories, lost underneath. In my structure, I feel a rupture from where she should be.
Okay, Diana, very good. We can practice with that one. Also, I think he sing like a woman. I don't know why. He looks like it's a man, but he's singing like a woman. This is very nice, actually. Okay. Tito, do you have one for me, please?
Yes, teacher.
You can share with us the screen, or do you want to share in the...
Okay.
No, I cannot see the screen. Okay, let's figure out. Share my screen again.
In the town where I was born, lived a man who sailed to sea. On board the silver line, in the land of submarines, from the earth to the sun, in the clouds of yellow submarine. We all live in a yellow submarine, a yellow submarine, yellow submarine. And our friends are all aboard, many more of them live next door. And the band begins to play.
Okay, very good, very nice, actually. I think this song is for children. I don't know why. Maybe the melody.
Yes.
Okay, very good. So we can practice also like this. Reading a song, reading the letters, checking the vocabulary, and check the stuff on the song. And also if, for example, in my case, this song from Adele, I like because her voice is very nice, actually. But we can practice also like this, the second language, okay? So now finally we have, okay. Let me share again my screen. And finally we have here. I want you to think about these pictures and try to describe these pictures, okay? So you can think about it if you want to choose the number 1, the number 2, the number 3, or the number 4. So I want you to describe this picture and I want you to speak about it. Try to use different kind of words, okay? Don't use simple words like it's in a beach or something like that. No, I want you to describe this picture and try to use different kind of vocabulary, okay? So think about it and I will give you 2 minutes to think about it, okay? Okay, Tito, can you start to describe one picture of this fort, please?
Yes, I describe the 4 picture or 1 picture, teacher.
It doesn't matter. You can choose whatever you want.
Okay, in this, in the first picture, I have to see landscape of the city. All day, all day the raining, and a lot of cars in the street, and all building, and historical building in the city. In the city since Holland or Italy or Paris. It is a beautiful image, and I see a person right a bit in the channel. In the second picture, I like the 4 person in the restaurant, in the elegant restaurant. 2 women and 2 men. The first woman used the red dress, and the other woman used a black dress, and 2 men used the dress without tie. And I see a lot of food, beer. They they drinking beer. They ate uh, Chinese food or Japanese food. It is elegant food. They are celebration together.
Okay, very good, Tito. Yes. In the first picture, actually very nice picture, we can see the blue sky and a lot of different cars. And like you mentioned, it's raining. It was raining, but now is very nice a picture. And the second one, it's two couples having fun. Okay, the next one, Dayana, do you want to take one picture and describe it, please?
Okay, teacher. I choose the right in the beach. Mm.
Okay, this one.
They are on their honeymoon at the beach, and they paid someone to take so very photos. Um, I I see the picture of color is black and blue and yellow.
Yes,
It's the afternoon.
yes. What else, Dayana?
What?
What else?
Yes.
Okay, okay, yes. This is a couple also, and they are sharing and they are very in love each other because we can see they are kissing. Okay, so very good, Dayana. Laura, what about you? The next one, please.
Okay. um, okay, I choose your image, the image of Torre Tower Eiffel, and in this image, I we we can see that is the France, the, the France, and especially in Paris and Torre Eiffel, and we can see the blue sky to to some trees and the woman that uh, that look like tourist, and she looking for a direction to Paris, and is complicated because the direction of Paris, the street of Paris are confused. So uh, isn't long and have names of the street, and is confused because I think that she used a map, and she looked like uh, is enjoying um, the, the 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 travel to the this beautiful country.
Okay, very good. Yes, I think she's having fun, but uh, she looks like lost or something like that because she has a map. Very good, Laura. Okay, now we have another pictures here. I want you to think about it and choose one and describe it again. Okay, so I give you 2 minutes to think about it. Okay, I think we can start. Laura, can you choose one imagine, please?
Okay. Now, okay. um, I choose the Fountain of Trevi. This is a important destination of of, vac- of vacation or holidays, and this is in Rome, Italy, and this is fun to go to because the infrastructure um, and como las estatuas, no sé cómo decirlo,
Um, or the place?
or the place, and is a place to where the people went to around and going to wish something, and this is an amazing place to visit when we we go to Rome, and the it's a place where mm, much people go every year, and is a beautiful place.
Okay, yes. Uh, Laura, do you know that the wish that they mention is to come back?
The people say that yes, but I don't know.
Yes.
I wish to go, but I don't know because I don't did before, but I want to go
Very good, very good.
and
Yes,
compare it.
yes. Actually, they. They choose one coin and they actually mm, ask for a wish, um, yeah, and the wish is to come back to that fountain. I've been there long time ago, and it's a beautiful place actually. Okay, the next one, Tito.
Uh, Thank you, teacher. In the first imagine uh, there is people working at the restaurant to take a photo with an actor. I forget his name, and he's very important actor.
Okay,
A lot of together is very happy with the with the personage, with the actor. In the two images, an office workers have to rest on time to the person talk about this job or he's thinking about other things.
okay,
Uh,
that's good.
the
Very
third,
good.
third
It's
picture.
okay. Tito, it's okay. I think this actor is Tom Hanks. I
Oh,
don't know.
okay, okay.
I don't know if
Oh,
it's
I
good.
forget.
Okay, very good. And the last one, Dayana.
Yes, teacher, I choose the image of up. I describe they work in a company from Monday to Friday, and they are working on an important project. And the woman in dress gray is the leader.
Okay, very good. Like you can see, we can practice like this. Imagine a lot of different stuff from pictures. Also, it's an important exercise to practice our um, imagination and also our core skills if we want to write or if we want to talk about it and record it. This is an important exercise also to practice our four skills and our fluency if we want to start to talk about it. Okay, so finally, I have here some things to do. So, for example, if you want to start to tell a history or a personal anecdote, you can also take time to think about the question and the history before you start talking and use narrative tense. We can practice past simple, past continuous, past perfect, or some different kind of tense. Use adjectives or adverbs to make the story interesting. Okay, use sequencing words first of all, then after that, later on, finally, in the end. Okay, give your history an introduction. Say briefly what your history is about. Give the background to your history. Say when and where it took a place and what you were doing at that time. Okay? Say what happened step by step. Use different kind of words like so, because, and although to connect the actions until you reach the end of the history. Keep the action moving. Finish your story or anecdote by saying why it's important to you or why you remember it. Look at your listeners. Also, we need to have eye contact. We need to be confident, friendly. And if we want to check some um, answers because they start to talk about your history, so they can make some questions to you, so you need to pay attention to all these details to practice your fluency. Okay, so here we have some examples. Don't. so we don't have to take too long telling the history or your listeners get bored. Use a flat or bold voice. Look down or look around the room. So we have here some example about these storytellings. So I want you to take one for the next class, for the next session. So you can talk about a perfect day that you had, or tell about a special event in your life. Tell me about a time when you lost something important for you, or tell about gave someone a surprise. So I have these 4 examples. I want you to take one, practice at home, and in this next session we are talking about that. Okay? So
Okay.
it's okay. Remember to use a different kind of vocabulary, different kind of words, sequencing words, adjective, adverbs, to make the history interesting. Okay, so you can take one, and for the next session we are going to talk about that. Okay. So anyway, I will send you a WhatsApp message with the topics, and also you can practice for our next session. Okay, I think it's in 11. Okay, so of this month. So I hope you like this session, Diana. What do you think about the fluency?
What, teacher? I don't understand. I don't listen it. I don't
Okay,
listen.
what do you think about the fluency? Or what do you think about this session?
Ah, I think that the tips are very important because um, we have new ideas for practice our second language in different forms.
Yes, we have a lot of different tips here that we can practice with songs, also recording ourselves, also doing something daily, hear some movies in English or with natives practicing also. Okay, what about you, Laura? What do you think about this session?
Section. I think that in the topic of the fluency is important because to talk to speak a language that isn't uh, our mother language, first language is is important because we to form to share opinion, to share idea is important to form because we have too slow is lost the idea, and when we we meet other person, natives and people that know more English or don't dominate more, in, uh, that we have fluency is too easy to communicate to different things, and the activity of reading is important because we we need to practice to the four skills of the communication of the uh, learning to increase our level of English.
Yes, yes, this is very good. When we can start to practice and check our skills, we can start to learn day by day, and this is really important. We need to practice a lot because, of course, this is our second language, and we need to start to practice with different kind of activities that increase our level. Okay. What about you, Tito? What do you think about this session about the fluency?
Teacher Laura, all sessions are important, and we have to learn a lot of the develop our skills ability language. I have happy with this class, and my partners Lina, Laura, Dayana, Carlos. I see other person with different way to think and see the second language. Um, Today is very important the section. Remember things, very important things from learning and more fluency and improve skills with watch TV, movies, listen podcasts, videos, music, songs, read a lot of learn new words. It's very important the tips in the videos. Today we were seeing.
Yes, it's very important also to practice a lot with different kind of exercise because sometimes we can start to feel boring because of course the grammar and a lot of different things that we need to learn. So we can practice with music, with different kind of videos, and writing in a notebook or in a paper our ideas. We can describe in pictures, or we can dream about different kind of things that we want to learn or we want to achieve. So this is really important. The fluency is necessary for, of course, for us as a future teachers, and also it's important to try to set our goal and achieve a better level in English. Okay, so thank you so much. I hope you like this session and see you in the next one. You have homework to do. I will send you WhatsApp message with the classes that I want you to describe. Just choose one and we can talk about the next session about that. Okay.
Okay, teacher.
Okay, teacher, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Have a good day. Bye bye.
Bye bye, teacher.
Thank you so much.